Hi, my name is Ari Strulowitz. I work with Midwest NCSY. I'm the Assistant Chapter Advisor for the North Shore Chicago chapter. And I'm the crazy wild guy who's always on the microphone at Midwest Shabbatones. I'm very excited for this opportunity to be here and to share with you a fascinating idea from this week's Parsha. This week's Parsha is Parshat Vayikra. It starts off with Hashem speaking to Moshe and telling Moshe to speak to the Jews and describe to them certain details about sacrifices or karbanos. There's an interesting language used in the second pasuk of this week's parsha. It says in the middle, Adam ki yakri mikem korban laHashem, a man from among you when he brings a sacrifice to Hashem. So it's funny, why does it say from among you? Just say when a man brings a korban. So Rashi points out on this pasuk that it is talking about karbanos nidava, voluntary korbanos, voluntary sacrifices, not to be confused with sacrifices that are obligatory, that are expected of a person to bring in an obligatory way. These are korbanos that are voluntary. If you wish to bring them, you can, and they are considered to be a mitzvah. The Stipler Gaon asks a fascinating question and shares a phenomenal idea, not just about voluntary korbanos, but also our service of Hashem in general. He asks, what's the concept of a voluntary korban? What's the concept of a voluntary mitzvah in general? Throughout the Torah, there's a lot of opportunities that one has to fulfill these sort of mitzvahs that fall into an interesting category, voluntary mitzvahs. There's a concept of a nazir. A person, if he wants, could take upon himself the oath of a nazir. There's a Mishnah in Peah, the first parak, the first Mishnah, lists a whole bunch of mitzvahs that one can do if they want to. The question is, well, if these mitzvahs are essential to our relationship with Hashem, so then why are they voluntary? Why do we have permission to do them? Why not just make them an obligation, a chiyuv, like many other mitzvahs? And if they're not essential, so then why are they there at all? So the Stipler goes on to talk about this concept that we know of avas Hashem, loving Hashem, that there's a mitzvah to be a person who loves Hashem. But how can Hashem command us of something that's in our heart? Love is an emotion. So in what way are we able to awaken within ourselves a love for Hashem? It's not so easy. Even if a person were to sit and to contemplate of all the wonderful things that Hashem does and all the wonderful things that Hashem can do, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll all of a sudden love Hashem. So how can I be commanded about things that are emotion, about things that are in my heart? So the Stipler quotes the Ramchal in Mesilas Yesharim, as many others also say, in Mesilas Yesharim Perek Zayin. The Ramchal talks about the relationship between a person's panemius, his inside, his emotion, his feeling, and his chitzonius, the outside, the actions and the physical decisions that one makes. If a person has on the inside of him a burning desire to serve Hashem, so he's the type of person maybe that would wake up extra early or will do a mitzvah and be very careful about it and go above and beyond. But there's also a reverse relationship between the outside and the inside, that the outside also affects the inside, that his actions do affect the emotions that he has. The example I always heard was if you dress really nice, like maybe you put on a tuxedo or you wear a really fancy dress, so if you went out to dinner, maybe you would have, your manners might be just a little bit better than they would have been otherwise if you were wearing like, I don't know, a jean jacket. Do people still wear jean jackets? I don't think so. But, maybe just like a hooded sweatshirt. So the concept is that when I'm dressed really nice and I dress refined, so then maybe my manners are also a little bit more refined. So the same thing is true in service of Hashem, is that if we run to do the best that we can in the way we serve Hashem, so that awakens within us this spark, a little bit more of a desire to serve Hashem. If the only mitzvahs we had were mitzvahs that we were obligated to do, so we'd always feel like we were paying back a debt, like paying a bill. A chiyuv, actually, an obligation, is the same word as a chov, which in fact means debt. So there wouldn't be much like emotional attachment to it. I'd be doing what I had to do. But if there was an opportunity to do something that I didn't have to do, and I was able to show that I was going above and beyond, so I'd be showing Hashem, look how much I care, but I'd also be affecting within myself this igniting of a spark that I really want to be that type of person that runs to serve Hashem and that goes above and beyond. And that's why Hashem has presented us with this concept of a voluntary mitzvah and voluntary karbanos. It's not just for sacrifices. It's in everything we do. It could be in our davening. If we daven just a little bit harder, we're showing maybe inside ourselves, we're awakening within us a spark that I want to try a little bit harder. The same thing goes with learning Torah. If we maybe learn a little bit more, or we act nicer with other people, or we act for the community, tzedakah and chesed, all these are what we call voluntary mitzvahs. And the more we take part in voluntary mitzvahs, the more we're able to awaken within ourselves this desire to serve Hashem. And the same thing is true with Avos Hashem, like we were speaking about before. If I act as a person who's an Ohev Hashem, and it's not always so easy, but if I do it and I work on it, I may come to see that that not only affects me as a whole, but it also affects the inside, my emotions, my feelings. So the hope is that throughout all our service of Hashem, that we take advantage of these opportunities that may be presented as voluntary, and we do the best that we can, and in doing so, hopefully, we'll awaken within ourselves a burning desire to serve Hashem, to love Hashem, and to take advantage of all His mitzvahs, and to eventually fulfill and reach our potential. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful week.